It's that time of year again. Do you feel it? Do you feel that it's time for us to talk about taxes, IRS, safety, all of those things? Yep, you're right. And boy, do we have him here with us today. Please join me in welcoming. He drove all the way down from North Seattle. IRS spokesperson David Tucker II.
Yes.
Welcome to Cityline.
Pleasure to be here. And I just want to say Andrea Ray is great.
You know Andrea Ray, because you and Andrea Ray used to do
crossed paths before.
theater. You've done theater with her. We needed Andrea Ray like you have no idea how bad we needed her. But we also need you because there are some current tax scams out there. You know, I was telling you about, I out myself. I'll be 62 next year, and I have a 35-year-old daughter who helps me with some of those questions about should I click on this or not? What is this? But for people who are older, it can be really difficult. So what do we need to watch out for?
So we find that tax scams actually happen throughout the year, but we find a prevalence of them occurring during filing season, which is on the near horizon.
Right.
And so what we want people to do is the first line of defense is always awareness.
Okay.
Be aware that there's tax scams out there. And they do target specifically, they target the elderly, and they also target our immigrant populations.
Absolutely.
And so whenever we want to create awareness, we want the people who are maybe watching your show also ask and let their elders know about these scams so that they can be aware and protect themselves.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was sitting with one of my dear friends the other day, and the phone went off, and it was her elderly mom, and she said, I don't know if I should click on this or not, and her daughter said, send me a screenshot and I'll call you right back. And but it was, you could hear the kind of the panic in her voice of confusion.
Right.
Because she's older and she wants to do the right thing.
Well, and that's why we really advocate that people not, there's a lot of scams that kind of go around this year. Some of them are tax scams, some of them are otherwise, like delivery scams. There are scams in which people say, hey, I've got a box I'm supposed to deliver to you.
Right. Or it's Cotton Customs and we need you to click on this.
Right. And so we advocate if you get anything that appears to be from the Internal Revenue Service, that's not how we interact with taxpayers. We usually often will send something to the U.S. Postal Service. But if you get a text or any sort of social media messaging that says, hey, we've got a tax refund for you, but we need you to click on this link.
Don't do it.
What that means is that it's most likely a scammer. It's not the Internal Revenue Service. And what that does is when you click on that link, what you find is that you sometimes download malware that infects your phone or impacts your computer.
Right.
Or they're asking for personal or private information.
So we've got a video we're going to turn up and we're going to watch so
Great.
you get an idea here, and then we're going to move into what we know happens is filing season's coming right up. So Mr. Dan, my beloved director, roll that footage.
Thieves are constantly working to steal people's identity and personal data so they can use it to fraudulently file tax returns and claim refund money that isn't theirs. Remember to check out irs.gov/scams for more information and tips on avoiding scammers. Here are a few things you should know so you don't fall victim to these scams. First, the IRS won't initiate contact with you by email or over social media to request personal or financial information. Second, the IRS also doesn't send text messages offering things like tax relief, tax credits, or help setting up an online account. Third, look out for fake emails or websites pretending to be the IRS. Don't click links you cannot trust. Fourth, phone scams impersonating the IRS often threaten taxpayers with things like arrest and deportation. Remember, the IRS does not leave pre-recorded urgent or menacing messages, nor will we demand immediate payment by gift card. Finally, remember the IRS initiates most contacts through regular mail delivered by the U.S. Postal Service. However, there are times when the IRS will call or come to a home or business. Even then, you'll generally first receive several letters from the IRS in the mail. If you believe you've been contacted by a scammer, visit irs.gov/scams for details on how to turn them in.
Oh my gosh, so everybody should be going to this website. Yeah. Everybody. I have to tell you, I feel such a sense of relief, but also mingled with a little bit of, oh my God, when I think about some of the things that I've clicked on.
Right. And I would also say that if anyone sends you an email or a social media message or a text message, and they're asking for personal or financial information, you should not provide it over those sources because, first of all, the IRS doesn't need to get that personal information. But second, you cannot verify the source of that email or that source of that phone text.
Right.
And so because of that, you always want to protect your private and personal information and financial information, just like you would the money in your wallet.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I see something that doesn't look right, and it's like, what is this? So speaking of that, things that we do recognize is this is the time of year for us to file our taxes. And when does the upcoming season begin? Because today is January 2nd.
Right.
So when do we start really lining all of our documents up and really understanding what's expected of us?
So the filing season will open later this month, and there'll be a bunch of news articles and such about that. And so that is when people can start to file their, it's actually for the 2024 tax season.
Absolutely.
They can file their tax return with the IRS. Some of the things that you should be doing prior to that, though, is maybe look at gathering all your documents, because you want to make sure that you have all the information correct in your tax return.
There we go.
Second thing is that you should make sure you claim all the income you received that year. And third, you can also look at getting, if you need assistance, there's a variety of ways to get assistance through either free sources that are on our website. We have programs in which we work with AARP and Goodwill, and they provide free tax preparation, pre-tax preparation for tax returns for those who make under $67,000 or for those who are over 60 years of age.
Boom, that's me.
And so those are all throughout the city. You can find the resource that's closest to you on irs.gov.
Okay,
and
so
get that preparation.
Here's the question I have for you is how can people best get help if they have a tax issue? Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know until we get into it. I'm looking at Mila, and I think about Mila probably has really great chopping skills, but how did she know she needed them? She probably cut herself at one point. So we don't know what we don't know until IRS comes back and says, this doesn't match up.
Right.
What do we do then, David?
So the first step is always to go to our website, because we have what are called tax assistants. That is just a bot that will help you answer a lot of different questions regarding whatever question you may have. So irs.gov, go there first is the first step, I would say. But if you feel like you need to do face-to-face interaction with an IRS representative, we have what's called the Taxpayer Assistance Center right here in Tacoma.
What?
On A Street. And so what they need to do is just set up an appointment.
Okay.
And they can call in a number, and that'll be posted later.
Yep.
They can call that number, set up an appointment, and that way they know they're actually speaking directly face-to-face with an IRS representative.
There we go. That is exactly what they need, because I'm envisioning, we talked about, we each have children that are like in their 20s and 30s, and so many times it is those children that pick up the phone and say, I've got my mom next to me, she's on speakerphone, we need some help. But it's so great to know on A Street here locally that we're not calling some 1-800 number that doesn't know that we live in Tacoma, Washington, because that's also scary.
Yeah, and you get to meet with someone face to face, and we don't do tax preparation, but we can answer a majority of tax questions that a person may have, and bring your documents with you and be prepared, to have that discussion. And that's the key thing for folks to know in Tacoma, is that that's a resource for them. Preparation.
Okay, so when does the filing season end?
The filing season usually, and this year most likely will probably end on April 15th.
Okay, the dreaded tax day that we used to always hear about.
Yes. And so that is when people will need to file that's the deadline in which to file their tax return and to make any payments on tax liabilities. So what the sequence is that most people file that get a refund, file early in the tax.
Of course, we want our money.
Yes. And so there's a tool for them they can use as well to track that refund.
Wow.
And it's called Where's My Refund, and it's on our website. It'll tell you when the actual tax return has been accepted by the IRS, if the refund's been approved, and when it's going to be issued. So I would encourage people to file electronically, first of all. It's the fastest, safest way to do it. If they're getting a refund, I would suggest that they request direct deposit. That way it goes right into their bank account.
There we go.
And so those are the steps they should take to get their tax return in and get that money back if they're due a refund.
I want more of you on this couch in the future.
We can make it happen.
Okay, can we make that happen?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your kindness, your warmth, and your intelligence. We need more people like you in this world.
They're all in the IRS.
There we go. That's where we find them. You have a great new year, and I'm going to see you back in the spring where we're going to talk about more ways that we can rely upon and make the IRS one of our best friends.
That'd be great.
All right, Mila, what you got? What are you chopping up over there, Missy?
Just chopping up some green onions. We're gonna top our vegan sushi bowl with them.
Oh my God, I live for green onions. All right, we have much more veggies to come. We'll be right back after this quick break.